Hello, my name is Gina Virginia Casella, owner-operator of Present Moment Hypnotherapy International. Today, we're doing PMHI Passions. This is unscripted, unedited, and I'm so thankful to have Eric, Council of 9 as my guest today.
I
wanted everybody to know that we are a story species. We're the hero in the hero's journey, carrying all of our high-quality items with us forward. We're the hero with 1,000 faces, because when we look at each other and when we listen to each other, really, we're looking and listening to our own reflection. Stories are never about the plot. The plot is to serve as a vehicle to highlight the deeper themes. One theme we all share is our conscious evolution and ongoing alchemy. Stories are medicine. They embody wisdom, perspective, and knowing. Sharing stories is essential for our conscious evolution and a complement to our ongoing alchemy toolkit. PMHI is committed to creating space for personal short stories to be shared, specifically about high strangeness, spiritual experiences, ritual work, and of course, if any PMHI clients would like to share out reflections or testimonials from a session they had with me, they're welcome to do that here. Guests have about 20 to 25 minutes to share out. And I want you to know that how you think and feel matters. It matters so much to the point that it creates ailments and/or it can inspire healing. So let's move beyond the stigmas and dis-ease from our high strangeness, bringing more ease and normalizing such experiences, because there's nothing strange about high strangeness. And the supernatural is very natural. The paranormal is very normal. You matter. Yes, you absolutely matter. Today is September 18th, 2023, and I'm delighted to welcome Eric, Council of 9. And Eric, I'm going to let you take it away.
Okay.
Welcome so much to PMHI Passions.
Okay.
And for sharing your story.
Yeah, very briefly, I'm Eric. I'm from Belgium. My story starts already 45 years ago. The basic start for me was my insight that Eric doesn't know much, meaning how does life start, where is life about, where does life go to? And he said, I don't have that answer in me, so I have to look it somewhere else. And then, of course, you have to understand 45 years ago, there was not much to be, there was no internet, even the libraries, there were little or no books about that. So, that was the first start. They said, okay, Eric, I don't know much what is going on in life, so I have to look somewhere else. So, and then found some yoga and some stuff and said, okay, there must be a higher or a bigger perspective than Eric. And I was looking for that. So I have been reading, I'm going back and forth in time here. I've been reading in total between 500 and 1,000 books about that over the years of the 45 years. Okay, and then I said, okay, that's the theory, yes, but how is the practice going on? And again, I repeat, there was not much going on over there, so it took me almost 2 decades to even find a clue where to start. And I said, okay, meditation, yoga, whatever. And then I found, and that's maybe important even for today's, I found the hemisync discs, which are still available today. There I started experimenting, and then with a lot of effort, I got my first contact, and I was just, they call it an imp, so it's an impression. So that was even new to me. So, okay, what is, if it's not imagination? So they called it an imp. That guy called it an imp, and I said, okay. So I got an imp of a person, And he said this, I will sit in the, I said, he did that. And I didn't understand it after 2 days. And he said, you don't need to come to me, I will come to you. So that was my first contact. And he got a name, which is not important, but it was a guide. And I worked with that guide over more than 20 years. And again, you have to start with the 45 years ago and 25 years ago. It was one word, the week later, another word, that was it. And I've been fighting with my guide, meaning to try to understand what's happening there and how to connect with them. And then again, I rephrased back and forth. I said, okay, we got more and more over the years an agreement, meaning I don't know it, you know it. So little by little, he got more to the front and Eric got more and more to the back. And that went on another decade. So we are already 30 years in the making. So that was that. And then it started more or less, more about 10, 15 years. And then it got a little bit better and better and better. So, and then I got a bigger group, which we now call the Council of Nine. But then again, Gina, you don't know it. I got an upgrade in the meantime.
Oh.
Okay, we'll tell about it in a minute. And they said, okay, we are the Council of Nine. So we are a team of non-physical beings who can connect with you. Again, fast back now, everyone has a guide, a guardian angel, whatever. But you need to make the effort to go there. So again, I didn't know how. Again, it took me 30 years to understand it with the hemisync discs in those days. And I had to find my way and to work my way through it again, totally on my own, and with the discs a little bit. And I was training and training and training by myself. And then people started asking questions. How do you do that? And how do you get there? And again, what I'm telling to you, that it took me 30 years, trial and error. I don't know how you must do it. I did it. I think I should do it, but I made huge amount of mistakes. And then there was a certain turning point, and I remember it very well. And he asks, I had maybe one training in all those years, one training. And the first day of that training, we had to connect with the guide. And I had my guide already a few years. And he said, but I cannot connect with the guide. And I was a little bit pissed because I wanted to have an expert training. And they started with the basics. And I said, oh, I don't want to do that. I said, I paid a lot of money and they're doing the basics. And that guy had a one-on-one, and the question was, try to connect with your guide. And I told him, so, but I have my guide already a few years. So that exercise is not useful to me. And he said, I don't know how to start even. And I was partially pissed, partially interested. And he said, oh, you don't know it. He's standing next to you. And I said, why, what, how? And then I understood, again, after a few weeks, I was trained by trial and error to find those doors. And suddenly I found out, okay, I had to look for 30 years for how to pass those doors. But now I know where the doors are. And then that same guy, and they said, oh, and he said, he's standing next to you. I said, how, why, who, what? And he said, okay, don't freak out. He's putting your hand on your shoulder. Do you feel something? And he said, oh yeah. Okay, now he's talking to you. And he said, he's saying this. And I said, oh yeah, I hear that. And I was even surprised with myself. How do I even know that? How can I even understand that? And he said, okay. So, and that was my 30 years of training, and it's literally crawling through the mud. And then I said, okay, that's how it was. That's why the training was there. And then I understood. And also in that training, it was an eye-opener training for me. Also, they said, oh, even other guys. Oh, and I will tell you that story. That's maybe a funny one. So there were two ladies, and one was already a good friend of mine. And he said, Eric, we were in the same reincarnation, in the same life, and we have some trouble with each other, and we're quarreling even now. And he said, oh, okay, can you help us? Because yeah, we're in the emotion, we can't process it, we're too close. Can you process it? And we were walking in a forest just during a break, and the lunch break, and we just had a stroll. And he said, okay, that's not a problem. It's just a slight emotional breakthrough you need to have. You have to just remember the issue, and that's it. Just remember the issue, talk about it. You don't have to process much. And they said, okay, you only have to drop it, acknowledge it and drop it. That's all. I said, how do you do that? And again, so that guide was talking to me, and he said, okay, I will tell to 3, and then you drop it. And you feel your knees a little bit bending, and that's it. That's it. And I said, but how do you do that? I said, no problem. Listen to me. And again, you have to understand, it was not me talking. So it was my guide, and I was just repeating what my guide said. Again, no, I will first end the story. And then, I talked to one of the ladies, and I said, okay, you're ready, you will bend your knees. I will count from 3 to 1. Okay. And said 3, 2, 1. Bend your knees. But she was not bending her knees. She was collapsing. And we had just, oh, well, what are you doing? Said, I didn't want to bend my knees. My knees bended on themselves. I just fell to the ground. I said, yeah, I just could have a grip on you. And then that other girl said, that we don't understand. So you tell us that something will happen, and it happens, period. I just fell to the ground. I didn't know it, it just happened. And I said, Eric, please understand, don't do that anymore. Because everything you say will happen. And that was the eye-opening for me. I said, okay. And then again, back, so that 30 years of training, it went that far, and that we call it channeling now, or even processing, or channeling in a very broad way, is that it's not Eric is talking, it's my guides who are talking, but there is no filter in between. It's not me, so there's something in my head, I hear it, then I process it with my ego, so to speak, and I speak. That filter is totally gone. And that was I said 3, 2, 1, boom. And then I understood, okay, so now my guides are in front, and they do the talking, they do the processing, and I'm just the speaking voice, or the presence, the human presence, and that's it. And that's again those 30 years of trial and error that went to be. So where we go from there, and that's the most important thing that I want to it is, for me, Eric is the vessel, and that's for everyone. You have to understand the soul has a plan for you. And or you follow the plan. I talked about that a few hours ago. I will repeat that one. For instance, you work in a company, And the CEO said, Eric, can you do that, please? Or Gina, can you do that, please? And you don't give a damn. And you said, no, I'm going to do my way. Understand, if you do that in a normal a company thing, you will not get paid for the stupid things you do because you're not listening. That's the same with life. Your soul, or even higher, whatever dimension, but at least higher than your ego, they're the boss, and they're paying you in a non-physical way, or even in a physical way. That might happened. I will tell you about that. Yeah, okay. And keep the timing, of course, because is that when you are working against your boss, even in 3D, you don't get paid. So the same counts also up there. When you do what they do, you will get paid for it. In whatever way they think, because you're cooperating, you're co-creating there. If you don't do that, and they said, okay, yeah, okay, so if you don't bother, why should we bother? Because we are a one unit. We are a multi-dimensional unit. But if you're not listening, and it took me 30 years to listen, so it's not overnight that happens. It's not, oh yeah, I will listen. No, it took me 30 years to listen. And you have to understand, I was hell for them, and they were hell for me. There were times I refused to listen to them. Back and forth. Once I was, I'm from Europe, so I was invited to Portugal for a big meeting, and I was the representative of Belgium, and said, okay, I would like to go, but I don't have the money. I was married then. And I asked my ex, said, can I use our money to go to Portugal? She said, yeah, you can go to Portugal, but not with my money, not with our money. And I will spare you the details. Suddenly, there was the amount of the cost of that week on my account plus 10%. Exactly, he said, okay, this is the cost for your weekend, and the 10% is what you will spend during the day, in the evening, for a beer or a drink or whatever. Exactly that. So understand, this can happen. And that's what I refer to, but you have to listen. If you think your 3D is in charge, forget it. Will never happen. Again, that's the easy to understand, and that's a repeat for me. You are the employee, and you have to listen to your boss. In a very extreme cases, I will take you, for instance. Sorry to go there, but I need I hear when you are never listening, day in, day out, you're never listening, so you're using your own private, personal money. That means you get out of money, you get out of energy, and literally you drop dead. Because you're using your own resources, but your resources are limited. You got them from birth on, and later on, okay, it's empty, then you just drop dead. And that happens with 99%, no, 99.9%. We just drop dead. Sorry, there is no other way to explain it. And then the other side is what they called ascension, or whatever I will call Jesus. And he said, I'm not dying, because he used the right resource. He said, okay, God, whatever you call it, it doesn't matter, a higher dimension. Thy will be done, meaning I will listen 100%. And if you listen 100%, you will live 1,000 years, 2,000 years, because literally you get paid. Yes. Okay, I was telling, do you have a question here?
Yeah, I do. And for those people who are listening at home, folks who are tuning in, they might feel frustrated listening, thinking, geez, it took you 30 years, but really it was because the biological one, known as Eric, needed to move to the side, so to speak, and let spirit come in and do its work. And I'm wondering, we've got about 5 or 7 minutes left. Can you talk about your upgrade? Should I be calling you Eric, Council of Nine? I've been using Gina Toby. And just for folks who are tuning in, Eric and we chat for an easy 6 hours. So this is kind of bizarre, really, just meeting for this short time now. So tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll already have to say goodbye.
Okay, so at first I got one guide, and he was with me about 20 years. As I spoke of the beginning and the learning years. So then he said, okay, you reached a certain level. Again, as I spoke of, you're listening finally. and then we got an upgrade, and that's how it works. Meaning you can connect, literally, you can connect with everything you can imagine in the universe. And for instance, I connected with deep space a week ago. I cannot explain even that. And I said, okay, we are an energy from another universe. We are here for the next 20,000 years, blah, 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 that kind of thing. So the upgrade, there is in fact no upgrade. Everything is available. But then again, as I spoke of, how many % of you are you listening to? So the upgrade comes when you are trained and surrendering to your higher self, so to speak. And then we got levels. They talk about your soul, your oversoul, your oversoul, whatever. God, doesn't matter. Think about it. It's there. So the upgrade was first, and I will, yeah, I got 5 minutes here, so first was the Council of Nine, and they said, okay, we'll give you a team, because now you can talk to a lot of people, and you need a lot of levels to cope with. So we will give you 3 team members for the Earth beings, 3 team members, what we call ET level, and we give you 3 team members for the what you call the angelic realm. But then again, they said it's just telling you got a team. And if it is 9 or 90, it doesn't really appear. This is your basic team you work with. Again, as in a company, if you need someone from the outside, they will come. But your basic home team is those 9 people. So the upgrade now is the Council of Nine is personally for me still there, but it's more on a personal level. When I work with other people, they call now the council, no number, and the difference is there is no number anymore. That's the upgrade. He said, okay, we are the council, meaning who do you want? Who do you need? Not what I want, who do you need? And then again, and there I will stop, or you have questions, is it's not Eric who needs something. Again, even now, when someone asks a question, Eric is the speaking person, is the conduit, is the channeler. But I know nothing. For instance, when I go with anyone and they said, okay, we'll do, I have that question, I have no clue. So if I don't get that download, it doesn't happen. And again, as I said before, I'm talking because my mouth moves. I don't know anything. Most of the time, I don't know anything what I'm telling. And then while I stopped, so there are 2 kinds of channelings. Channeling is what I do now. I'm conscious what I'm saying. So there is always a filter, because if Eric doesn't understand it, meaning I'm talking about the 27th dimension, Eric knows zip about, we cannot explain that because Eric doesn't know anything about it. So we can try to squeeze some definitions in, and that's the limitation of a conscious channeling. When there is an unconscious channeling, then that you know that, and it's okay, I'm here, I am that thing. So that means the ego is totally out of line, is totally unconscious. They're talking directly, but Eric has no remembrance of what they're telling. He just has to listen to the record itself. And that's good because we can give a lot of details, but then Eric doesn't learn anything because he's just a tube. And now Eric is learning also. While he's speaking, he's learning. Okay, I'll stop here.
That was a phenomenal story to share. Lots of little stories in there that you shared, and I really appreciate your time. And it's just amazing because there are folks listening out there who are experiencing these exact kind of things, and they don't have anybody to talk to about it. They don't have access to things because of the communities that they live in. It's frowned upon. And so I really appreciate you sharing out. We just have a few minutes left.
Okay, we get
about
you
5
first.
or 7. Yeah, otherwise it'll cut us off. But as far as the upgrade goes, I know even myself, when I experience an upgrade, I always feel like I'm not getting anywhere with my spirit guides. And I feel like that's a sign that it's time for an upgrade.
Yeah.
And that's the looking deeper within yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm just getting a note here saying time is running out. And so we do have 10 minutes left, and there's a timer on. So, and this is unscripted, and I'm not editing it. So I appreciate everyone's patience tuning in. And yeah, I know what you mean. Like, I was calling myself Gina, and then I started calling myself the biological one known as Gina. And then with guidance from Eric and Council of the Nine, I started calling myself Gina Toby. But I also have all these other spirit guides, and similarly to what you described, they're really all just kind of meshed in, you know, the wise and well, whale and orca elders, those are meshed in. And now I'm moving into the divine feminine energy. And it's just amazing. And moving away from categories is really important because Angel ET, I mean, you tell me, and when you're working with guides, maybe the language being used is goddess, maybe the language being used is jaguar, or like you described, a completely different dimension universe. And we just have to trust that whatever information we're receiving is perfect for us because it's our biology belief. And for what it's worth, if the biological one isn't okay, spirit can't do its work. So during that 30-year frustrated period, even though Eric, the biological one, was frustrated, he still needed his basic needs met, his personal security, food, shelter, and whatnot. And the spirit needs to honor that too. So it's a buddy system. And it's like you were describing, the employer taking really good care of the employee, assuming the employee is doing the workload. Any final thoughts from you, Eric? Do I call you Eric the Council or Eric Council of Nine? I don't know now. Eric the Wise One.
Eric doesn't know neither. So, but let's stick to the Council of Nine.
Okay.
So the Council of Nine, what we forgot now, what we wanted to add in the end is understand first. Everyone can do what Eric does. Everyone can do what Sheena does because you're doing it too. What the Council of Nine is offering directly through Eric, or even indirectly, meaning if you want to connect with the Council of Nine and you think you can, you don't need Eric, just sit in meditation. Where are you? And if you're able to connect with us, we are there. We are non-physical beings. We are beyond time and space. But the main thing you can have, Eric has to offer through us is we know where we need to go, meaning, as you said, Eric had to do it on his own 30 years. Humanity and Earth has evolved much over those years. So what took 30 years now is maybe what needs now 3 years. And if you're very talented, it can be 3 months. I had a girl who said, oh yeah. And that's just coming in and just remembering, I can do that. So the thing is, and that's what the Council of Nine is mostly interested in. We are not interested in, oh, I want you to do this and this and this. No, you or the listener or the viewer is that, okay, what do you need? How do you need it? See that you get past that door. That is our offering. We are not interested what Eric does. We are not interested that the viewer or the listener or whatever is evolving in the same way as Eric does. That is our job. Our job is do the right thing and see you get what you need in the multidimensional realms.
And a point to be made that the Homo sapiens sapiens we are the biological ones. We have the ability to process emotions, and not all of our animal two-legged and four-legged folks can do that. Yeah. And so we're really special. We're the land, whether you can think of the land as the, elementals, the earth, the air, the fire, the water. That's us. We're the land, and we have that intelligence to process emotions. All right. I want to thank you so much, Eric, Council of Nine, for joining us today. If anybody out there is interested in sharing their story, you can please join my Facebook group, Present Moment Hypnotherapy International. You can send me a personal message, Titanium Rooster. That's my Facebook name. And I've got some Mondays posted, and I'd really love to meet you. Again, stories are medicine. And we're the heroes with 1,000 faces, because when we share stories, we are literally sharing a reflection, and it helps us have perspective, gain perspective, and we find that wisdom within. Thank you so much, Eric. It's good to see you. And it feels kind of weird just having a short conversation. Like, don't we have another 7 hours at least? I mean, we always meet for like 6 or 8 hours, right? For like 6 or 8 days in a row, but
I'm still in the same spot. I'm open for everything, and I have to add there were 37 non-physical beings in this meeting as we spoke about that half an hour. So
that's amazing to know. And 7 plus 3 is 10, and then if you're into numerology, 1 plus 0 is 1, and so I think that's pretty cool as far as synchronicity goes. All right. Thank you so much, Eric. It was great to see your face. Thank you, Council of Nine, and for everyone, form and formless, for tuning in. Really appreciate your time. Take care. Bye, Eric.
Bye.